Will your children grow up Jewish? It all depends on their education. For more information about an Israeli scholarship, scan the QR code here.
Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Lital Shemesh, and coming up in today's newscast, the Gaza periphery remains closed for the third day in a row as the IDF warns of an imminent terror threat. Meanwhile, Iranian spies are caught on surveillance cameras, footage for the foiled plot in Istanbul now released by Turkish media. And finally, a window into the minds of our infants, an Israeli AI that can tell you why your baby is crying. The Gaza periphery now entering its third straight day of closures. The IDF saying Thursday morning that they've received intelligence of an imminent Islamic Jihad terror attack and therefore grinding up the southern border. ILTV anchor Aaron Porris with the update.
Israeli defense authorities calling the growing tensions along the Gaza border a pressure cooker. This as an Islamic Jihad attack from Gaza, likely sniper, mortar, or anti-tank missile fire, expected at any moment. And this in response to Israel arresting the Islamic Jihad terror group's West Bank leader, Bassam Sadi, in Jenin Monday evening. In defensive preparations then, Israel calling up some 100 relevant IDF reservists and shoring up its strength along the southern border region. Dozens of Israeli Air Force drones also preemptively scouting over the Gaza Strip skies for any terror cells en route to launch an attack. And the routes in, out, and around the Gaza Strip all closed to civilian traffic. Israeli trains offline and cars told to avoid the area, while Gazans with work permits both prevented from entering Israel or in some cases returning to the Strip. Meantime, attempts for cooler heads to prevail also underway. Egypt and Qatar both mediating with Islamic Jihad and Hamas to keep restrained. But Islamic Jihad, considered a less political or pragmatic organization than Hamas, so it's still anyone's guess if the calm can continue.
Joining now with more on this is Secretary General of the Israel Defense and Security Forum, Lieutenant Colonel Reserves, Yaron Buskila. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Lital.
Sir, we're in a situation in which Israelis who are living in the south near the border with Gaza are waiting for humanitarian gestures from Islamic Jihad in order to move around freely in the area.
Yes, you're right. This is a very dangerous president. I mean, the president that the Islamic Jihad make such a big impact and threat hundreds of thousands of people that living around the Gaza Strip. This is some of the things that Israel can never accept. And this is, I think, a very big sign for what's gonna happen in the next future, that every time that the Jihad Islam terrorist group will threat Israel, we will need to go back and to hide our people, to block the road, not let the people go out of their houses or going to the beaches around Gaza Strip, next to Gaza Strip. And that's kind of a life that we cannot accept, not now and not in the future.
And what is Israel wanting to achieve by sending out this message?
I think that right now there is no message. The message is only to the people that living in Gaza that right now we don't want to do anything that make the situation even worse. And we just try to wait and to see what the other side, what the Jihad terrorist group will do, and to let them make the first step. And then we will maybe react, or we will just let it happen and then go back to normal. As I said before, this is a situation that we cannot accept, and we have to act in a very, very different way to let them hide and leave their position and not change the life of hundreds of thousands of people, citizens that living around Gaza Strip, in Sderot, in the kibbutzim, and the moshavim, the settlements, next to Gaza Strip.
So do you think, Yaron, that at this point Israel's deterrence has worn off?
Yeah, I think that the deterrence actually eroded, but I think that we eroded the deterrence of ourselves because we decided that we are not doing the first step. If we were the army, and I say it's not about the army, it's about the government was letting the army doing what the army should do. So we could see a lot of tanks right now around Gaza next to the borders, and actually not let them do the first move. And if they were launching anti-tank rockets or using their snipers against our citizen, I think that what the army should do is to react in a way that it was very clear to the other side that this is one of the things that they should not do, and they will pay a very, very high price that make a very big damage in Gaza, that they will think twice before they threat again Israel.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also important to say that every time that there is tension between Gaza, between Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and Israel, the people of Gaza are also being affected by this. Because at the end of the day, whenever Hamas is shooting or threatening, the poor people who wants to just come and work in Israel aren't allowed to or can't come to Israel.
You're right. So beginning in 2005 that we left the Gaza Strip and we gave to the Palestinian Authority, and next after the Hamas took over the all of this territory of the Gaza Strip, every time they shooting or launching a rocket into Israel, the first one to get hurt, they're their people. And right now, thousands of people that should work in Israel and bring money to their families and have salary that will improve their life, they're not going out as they cannot work. And I think that by the time, I think there will be even a stress on the Jihad Islami and the Hamas from their civilians to stop it and not threat Israel because their life getting damaged.
Yeah, 100%. Do you see a way out of this ongoing circle of tension with Hamas, of violence, of terror from Hamas? Because us, the people of Israel, have been, living with this for years and years.
I think that we always should be in the side that doing the first move. We cannot be on the side that waiting to see what the terror organization will do. I think that the balance that we create between us and the terror, this small terror group, is not good. I think that the every terror organization always willing for a balanced combat. And we, as in the IDF and as Israel, we should not play to their hand and give them a balanced combat. We need to all the time to act strong, much more strong and much more intensive than what they accept. So they always will think twice before they're shooting or they're threatening Israel. And then it will probably stop because they will not want to be in the place that the damage is much more higher than they're accepted.
Lieutenant Colonel in Reserves, Yaron Buskila, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Turkey and Israel preventing an Iranian plot to target Israelis in Istanbul last month, and several suspects from the alleged Iranian unit were arrested. But now CCTV footage of the suspects as they scout their targets has been released to the public. Turkish sources saying that the operation was on a scale they'd never seen before. ILTV, Kayla Eberlin reporting.
Newly released clips taken from hundreds of hours of Turkish security footage reportedly showing several men following Israeli tourists and their locations in Istanbul and filming them on their smartphones. The video, obtained after police had finished scanning the media, identifying Iranians who had entered the country and were allegedly plotting to kidnap and/or kill Israeli citizens in early July. The reports adding that in some cases, the Iranian agents were paid some $35,000 each to carry out their mission, and some of the targets supposedly including a former Israeli diplomat and his wife, though their names not released to the public. In any case, thanks to joint investigations and intelligence sharing between Ankara and Jerusalem, the plot identified and prevented more than once. Turkish police arresting 5 Iranian suspects in one case, and then 3 more Iranian nationals suspected of a similar plot a few weeks later. The suspect caught, in part, due to their suspicious behavior, including entering Turkey on fake passports or routinely switching vehicles, and several detainees carrying weapons upon their arrest, including a rifle, 2 pistols, suppressors, aka silencers, and ammunition.
Will your children grow up Jewish? It all depends on their education. For more information about an Israeli scholarship, scan the QR code here.